All of you are making our country a better place to live, and your current actions are saving lives and property. The reason why the Coastal Forum was held was because of the impact coastal may have on our nation. Currently, we estimate there's about 2% of the population that lives behind accredited levees, and potentially about 3% of the population lives behind all levees. FEMA is undertaking the first comprehensive coastal restudy since the program has started in almost every area. The people who currently live in a coastal A or V zone, not riverine but coastal, is about 3% of the population. If you take a look at some of the census data and look at whoever lives in the census block group, that's going to represent 8.6% of the population. And if you think of anyone who gets influenced by coastal, it's probably in the order of 10 to 12% of the population. All of us know what we're responding to right now because of all the levee issues. As the new maps start coming on out for coastal, if the science shows that these elevations have increased, we're going to face challenges in communicating this with all the different communities. We need to get out ahead and be prepared for that. FEMA did a fantastic job of getting the message out after Katrina. They had the advantage because they had a major event and it was fresh in their minds. As we roll out maps across the nation, we may not be fortunate of having an event that's fresh in people's minds. So we're going to have to use tools and techniques of how do you get this message across if the science shows that the elevations increase. The second item dealt with how are we going to deal with the statewide programs. In essence of taking the third forum and downscaling it to the state. We're doing that so that a state can take advantage of the political will when it becomes available to act. There is typically a very short time that you have that you can act after an event or after political will is set. And what we're trying to do is work with various states so that you're ready for when that political will is set. What Doug Placencia has done already in these two states of Colorado and Indiana, they've gone forward and come up with several items so that they would be ready. First, they established a task force of various people. Each one of those forums was composed of over 80 people. And they wound up with a plan that was developed by people in that state. Not something that was done in Washington or elsewhere, but something that was done in that state. It has indicators of what you want to try to improve. Indicators are very important. It's often said that you can't improve upon something unless you can measure it. The third part is funding and authority. You need to take advantage of how are you going to fund these initiatives and what type of authority that goes with it. There are some states like North Carolina that have gotten creative with a property transfer fee. We need to take advantage when the political will is there to fund our floodplain management. Fourth, we need a model to determine what are the critical features inside of your community. Is it redevelopment that's a driving force? Is it new development? What do we really need to concentrate on? Fifth, we need to include all agencies. We can't just talk to some because others don't want to talk to us. We need to include all of them for this to be successful. Six, we need to come up with incentives and disincentives for these communities to put on out of why you should go forward with floodplain management. 7, we have to have effective risk communications. How do you do this? How do you have your risk communication within your state, within your community? And finally, 8, you come up with a way of how do you distribute this knowledge base inside. We believe that by taking what we've done at the national level and pushing it down to the state level, you're going to be better prepared for when that event comes to take advantage of the political will to make big advances in floodplain management. The third item was with our floodplain manager game inside here. In studying some of the statistics of the CFM, it appears that across the nation, we have a turnover rate of somewhere between 10 and 20% of our floodplain managers across the nation. We believe that this fresh blood coming in is good, it's vibrant, it allows us to stay fresh. But what we need to do is, as our regulations become more complicated and the issues become more complex, we need to bring these people up to speed quicker. In addition, we wanted a tool that, if the political structure would allow, could be used inside of a governmental setting for about a half-hour simulation to help teach city councils, county commissioners, the value of floodplain management. And fourth, we're going to continue funding flood policy papers. We have a great deal of number of papers posted on the web. If you have an issue out there that you have a problem with, look there. We may have it. If we don't, let us know, and there's a good chance that we'll probably fund it, because your issue is probably going to be something that impacts a lot of other people. The nation needs for you to be firm in your duties. You need to hold to your principles to make this country a better place for us to live and for future generations. I'd like to ask you all for 3 things. First, when you leave here, spread the knowledge that you've gained from attending this conference. It is amazing the amount of brain power we have in this room. It's not only in the sessions, it's walking down the hallways and socializing. Become the ambassadors back in your community. Second is volunteer. This is a volunteer organization. You can volunteer at the state level, at the national level, or the foundation. We need your help. The more volunteers we have, the better we can do. And thirdly, we could use your financial support. Okay? So if there's any way that you could help us with finances, we'd appreciate it. By working together, we will make this country a better and safer place to live for future generations.